Welcome to the GAU Summit, our video cast about the latest topics in video games presented by GamersRS.com. We are live in the Microsoft Center, in the Prudential Center, and let's talk about some video games tonight. I'm Eric, RickityBeans, Rubino.
I'm Drew, D3 Frayre.
I'm Andy, Game Diplomacy Lunique.
And I'm Oz, Sanguinary OZ.
I love it. So sexy.
And we are the Summit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I wanted to salute, but
We're getting to the bottom of today's gaming issues.
that's the gist of the show. And tonight's topic, in light of recent news, Facebook made a purchase.
a humble sum of money.
Investment.
Yes. For $2 billion, they purchased Oculus Rift. But I don't want to beat a dead horse. So what I want to talk about tonight is the future of virtual reality in general and what all of us think about it in light of lots of recent events, including other things like Project Morpheus and the control scheme of them and, recent demos that we have seen of it.
I say, just before we all get a little crazy, let's just remind each other what virtual reality is and what augmented reality is.
Do tell.
Alrighty. I'm just saying that people think virtual reality, they just kind of make the mistake of, getting inside some giant helmet and being inside the world. It's what VR essentially is trying to do, but don't confuse it with something like Google Glass and, on-screen boards that are using augmented reality to just kind of, put displays up on things.
I think what you're referring to is heads-up displays.
Heads-up display is a good way to say it, and only us gamers will ever get the privilege of saying that.
Or people who drive mechs.
Yeah, so I want to get that out there. What VR could possibly do. I have a tendency to actually get away from games when it comes to PR. I don't think video games, actually. I swear. I know I'm weird, but I don't think video games. I actually think about what that could do for fields in architecture, for medical fields, being able to do a lot of different things outside of video games.
Now you're talking about VR as opposed to AR.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Alrighty. I just think it can be insanely helpful. My position is the technology has been researched for decades now. Really, really decades, but now everyone's just like, nope, it's 2014. I'm sick of not having our headsets at home, and everyone is going forward with this. I'm gonna stop talking there.
I think you're right. I mean, it's been researched for a long time. You look at things like the military has used VR training for a long time. It's like the Navy SEALs use it, and the Secret Service uses it. And there's a lot of other sort of more fringe stuff, but it's because it's so expensive, and it's been so expensive for so long, which is why what is his name? Luckley? Is that the kid?
Lucky Palmer.
I thought it was Luckley.
It's Lucky Palmer.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw him give a talk.
Hell of a name.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
So anyway, he kind of was like, wow, it seems like this stuff's really expensive and it's too hard to get. So over the years, the technology has been worked on and made cheaper and more available, but it's still really expensive, which is why he did his Kickstarter to potentially make something that you could get for $300, $400 and take home, which is a great idea.
And for those viewers at home, who is Lucky Palmer?
He's the guy who basically started the company Oculus.
The founder
The
of Oculus.
founder of Oculus.
Yes.
And now they're working on Rift, which is their project.
Yeah.
That's the actual thing that everybody's seen. It looks like a set of ski goggles that you can't see through. Is basically what it looks like. I think the weirdest thing though is it's like, not to tangent off too much, but VR is basically like the 3D television craze, which is it was supposed to like create a huge boom in the market. It was going to drive everybody nuts, and you had to have it. And it literally did so poorly. I'm talking about 3D televisions. It did so poorly that Sony almost lost their shirt. They were like, whoa, we need to stop doing this. That's why you don't see 3D movies all over the place anymore, because it's already kind of lost. It's at low ebb again. 3D was a terrible idea in the 50s. It was a terrible idea in the 80s. It's still a terrible idea. They keep trying to bring it back. I mean, even Nintendo, with all the research on the augmented reality of the 3DS,
yes,
they make it so you can shut it off because they've done a lot of research and they realize that it's not great for little kids' eyes. It's because they're formative, and it's hard for their brain to differentiate, and it can create visual problems. And they've done testing where 1 in 5 adults just can't use artificial reality, like the 3D, because your visual cortex is too advanced. So what it does is, and VR works kind of the same way. So it sends one image and another image, and then your brain goes, okay, cool, and it fills in the blanks, it fills in the gap, which is what creates that artificial sense of depth that 3D has. But on 1 in 5 people, 20% of the population, their visual cortex is too advanced. So your brain goes, okay, I get this, and I get this. where's the rest of it? And then you get a headache, or you get like motion sickness or whatever, because your brain's like, okay, there's nothing here and there should be. I don't know what to do. So VR could be really cool if they made it so it was immersive. And I'm not saying like Lawnmower Man or the Tron movie, but I'm saying if it was immersive, so that they could pick up things like, eye movement or, like tilting your head, things like that, it would work. I watched some of the walkthrough for the Oculus Rift to get back on the main subject, and the cool thing was it's not true HD. It generates half and half, and your brain puts together and makes it HD. But you still get some vision blur when you move your head, and it literally creates I think it's a 110-degree track, so you can move anywhere from like here to here, and you can see okay. But it's not really virtual reality, because it's like having a triple monitor display for your PC gaming. It's essentially the same thing. It's not really reality. It's just like you have a broader scope of vision. It's really all it does.
I'm glad you mentioned 3D television, because I brought that up in my thoughts on the Gamers R Us website about the advent of this whole thing and Facebook buying it. And I think that's really what's going to make or break it is who's supporting it. And that's why I'm really glad that Facebook bought up this technology now, because up until this point, you said it's been really slow. And I mean, you can't just have indie developers working on this stuff, because it's such a big technology. And I think it's going to be really huge. I mean, I said that Facebook buying this technology and putting their funds behind it and supporting it could make or break this and be the difference between this turning out like another 3D television thing or becoming the next big tech. And I mean, you got to look at the past, like VHS versus beta. One was cut off, one became the primary form. HD DVD versus Blu-ray. One was cut off. I think that 3D TV is going to be cut off here, and I think that virtual reality, hopefully, is going to be the one that continues on.
If the porn industry backs it, you're all set.
That is something. I mean, if I find out that...
That's why VHS beat out Betamax. That's why Blu-ray beat out HD.
It's a huge percentage. It's the truth. It's the absolute truth. We're not joking. Look that up.
We went there quick. Games are always just one step removed from porn. That's what we're getting down to.
But I think that proves why it will work, is because it provides yourself with something way more than immersive gaming you can get in the past, where it like Andy said, it leads on to so many other things that you're not only going to buy this thing for your arcade to play his PS4 with in terms of the Project Morpheus, but like you're going to use it to go do certain things. You're going to use it if even Oculus and this Facebook thing takes off. It could be everything. Imagine filming things in VR. Imagine that being the new medium that you watch things. I think it extends it in a way beyond watching it on a monitor and 3D can ever provide, to the fact where, like, I mean, I've used the Oculus Rift, and the fact that you can look around like that blows my mind. And now that you have the Morpheus that is tracking your head completely and also giving you 3D audio, it gives you a whole new tale to tell a movie, a whole new thing to do a video game with. And then you add in controls like the Move and anything else that you can think of. Imagine if you had to reach into a box
the power glove,
and you could see anything. But seriously, there's people making things like that, and the show that Facebook is backing it, Sony is backing it, and there are 5 other things like GDC that look like that.
Right. It's something that the industry's paying attention to.
They're paying attention to because of all the right reasons, and I think we should focus on the right reasons and not stretching them into shopping in VR. I think that is unnecessary and should not be a thing. But like you said, medical training and like you said, video games could be amazing.
I mean, regardless of what happens, I still think that a lot of people are going to buy it as like a $6,000 Facebook machine, just like every other new technology that's coming out.
Here's the thing that you mentioned too. We've been doing virtual reality for a while. You know, people have been doing it, and what really caught on and what really Oculus was trying to do is do that 2 screens that make up one 1080 screen.
How convincing is it? You're the only one who's used it so far.
I would use the one before that wasn't even 1080, and I was buying it completely, because as long as you make it seem like I was looking around, and if I can see everything, you're kind of in it. You're not like thinking externally anymore. Like the world is gone from you, and add in that 3D audio, and you would never leave that thing, which is why I'm afraid of Facebook in a way. Because, like, why would you ever go to life if you could just always live perfect life?
Why would you live in the universe?
Yeah.
It's always so funny to see people relating it back to what Facebook is right now, and it's just like it's
going to be Second Life, but first.
It's funny because all these companies, if Facebook didn't make Farmville, right? If
Yeah,
Facebook didn't
right?
make these games, they're all about. Facebook is really all about collecting data, and that's what it's really all about. And if Facebook is getting interested in learning how to share experiences, if that's the kind of business they want to get into, I mean, listen. $2 billion price tag on something means you've got a really, really, really good idea for what this is going to do for your company. It's not just to be like, no, we want this because it'll make a ton of money. There was something going on there. It's the same reason why a company like Amazon might all of a sudden buy Double Helix, and why Google will buy this. And people have
Google
plans.
recently bought a thermostat company for the home. It's like an automatic thermostat company, just so they could get data about people's power usage.
Yeah, and that's just to collect data.
And they spent a lot of money buying it.
I think the focus is on too much of, whoa, Facebook is going to do horrible things, as much as Facebook is going to have some device out there, and they're already going to know everything about our lives anyway.
This is the
and
same argument
it's
as,
just
like,
a start.
the Xbox camera. Like,
Yeah,
oh, they're going to
it's
be
like-
watching me. It's
but,
like,
but it's also like you're going to
one cares
have
about you.
so many alternatives that what Facebook really wants to do is going to result into an app that you buy on your own virtual reality headset.
they're just trying to cater to their customer base, and they want to tailor everything to you. People look at it like, oh, they're collecting data. It's so invasive. It's like, well, first of all, if there's anything you're doing that you're really that worried about, like, then okay, maybe don't post that on Facebook.
Exactly.
Okay,
Keep it
that's,
away
that's
from
fine.
Facebook.
But like they're trying to streamline things for you as the consumer. Like they're trying to do you a solid. It's not the other way around. Like it doesn't help them to invest all this money if it's going to blow up in their face.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that realistically, as much as I don't like 3D TVs and VR, I hope that if the Rift does take off or something like it, I hope that they find that sweet spot. I hope that it's not something like, remember the Atari Jaguar back in the day? At the time, it was like the best gaming system available, but they had zero support, so it died. Or you had something like Virtual Boy, which was a terrible concept that they couldn't get to work out, but people bought it and then it died.
Who are you?
So they need to find something kind of like right in the middle, where like the technology is available and usable and legitimately has a purpose, but it's also, I don't have to be like, a 1%er and have like a job where I'm making $500 million a year.
Yeah.
And that's why Facebook owning it is like such a
Right.
big step up above just
can drop
Oculus
the
running
price.
it. Especially
Yeah.
like the
It's fine.
support network.
It's fine.
This thing's going to need a lot of support.
Yeah,
Every other
for
thing
sure.
that people have wore on their heads has caused millions of health problems and all sorts of calibration issues, but they're going to have the backing they need to make this succeed, which is great.
And the fact that they took that risk says something. Again, there's an investment that they saw that made sense. It's the same thing that everyone's looking. It's like, okay, I hate this, but it's like, if I were a part of Oculus and be like, hey, we just got a $2 billion pillow to land on, yeah, I'm not gonna be mad about that.
I'm just gonna wait. I'm just gonna wait like 15, 20 years so that I can literally just, stick a plug in my brain and like drive a light cycle around on a computer. That's all.
This is what he's really aiming for. He's just gonna, crowdfund this year by year.
Don't screw this up, Oculus.
All right. On that note, we're going to have to end the GAU Summit for this evening. Thank you, Frank, for working behind the camera as always. Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Andy. And thank you, Oz, for contributing. We are GamersRUs.com. You can subscribe to our YouTube GAU Studios below. And that is all we have for you tonight. I am Eric, RickityBeans, Rubino. Game on.